All right. Welcome back. New to Pulsechain with another. I don't know if it's another, but this is definitely a good one. I've been real busy with preparing for what is to come with Pulsechain. Now, I know a lot of people are, asking, when moon and when launch. And, I have a question for you. When that happens, what are you going to do? I've been saying it for a while. I've been beating this drum, having a plan moving forward with everything, having a plan and being ready for it. So I have a question for you. I want to pose this question, and then I want you to listen to what I have to say for the rest of this to kind of hear what I'm going to do. This is a full example of what I'm going to do. And you might want to do it too. You might have never heard of any of this stuff. In fact, I have never heard anybody ever say what I'm about to say. And I've researched the hell out of it because I don't want to be stuck after this thing launches with the 10,000x and not know what to do with the money, not know what to do with the crypto, not know what to do next. And really, if you don't know, someone else does. They always say, if you don't know who the sucker at the table is and playing poker, you're the sucker. Well, it's the same thing goes with life. If you don't know what to do with your money, well, guess what? That money goes to those who do know what to do with it. Money flows from people that don't know how to work with it to people that do. Same thing for crypto. If you don't know what to do with it, it'll flow to those people. So let's get into this. Let me zoom out a bit. We got to start with a disclaimer, and I also have to start with, right now is a good time to just go ahead and subscribe, because I'm going to give some more information like this, which is, I think this is really good information. It's sound information. But the issue is, I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax consultant. I'm going to do a lot of tax talk in this. I'm not a lawyer. If I was, I'd probably be a bad lawyer. So you want to make sure you hire people that do the right thing. So this, just a disclaimer, this is not financial, tax, or investment advice. I am not a lawyer or CPA, tax consultant. This is not advice. This is not investment advice. This is not tax advice. I highly suggest you take this entertainment for what it is and do your own research. This is the method. This method, I'm going to tell you, will cost between $3,000 and $10,000, and I'm not the person to pay for this. You're going to find your own person to do this. They do cost money. This one will cost you money, but it's going to save you a lot of money, and we'll talk about that. Seek out a professional and inquire of their cost. That's a good idea. It's good practice. Call around. You don't have to have anybody in your area to do this. You can call people from around the world. Someone around the world can create this for you. Just take this information for what it is. It's just information. It's just entertainment. It's just fun. It's what I'm going to do. It's not what you have to do. I might say stuff like you should. I'm really saying it to myself, so just listen up. Go ahead and like this video real quick while you're here. All right. First up, so PLS does a 10,000x, right? And I'm going to use million. I'm going to use $1 million because everybody has this benchmark around $1 million. Right? So everybody feels like $1 million is that like Goldilocks position to be in. Like it's going to just end all problems in your life after you get $1 million. So whatever. Let's just use that. I'm going to use million. So you're not a millionaire because you'd have to have two or more to be a millionaire. So you're really just 100,000-aire. So I should have changed that from you're a millionaire to you're 100,000-aire. All right. So now what? So I've heard many people say that they're going to cash out. They're going to pay off they're going to pay off all their debt and all that stuff. Well, this is what it's going to look like for you if this is the case. You're going to cash out. You're going to pay massive taxes. You're going to pay off your debt, and you're going to go back to work. And then the cycle continues. Let's just see what that looks like. So cash out. What does it mean? Well, it probably means you're going to sell and find an off-ramp. I'm not going to read all this, but maybe perhaps Coinbase, or maybe you have a crypto card that'll allow you to get out. See, I wrote this before Coinbase was having issues. Most likely you would have to trade, which that is a taxable event when you trade. We'll talk about something about trading later on because I don't agree with trading except for this one time. Then possibly you need to send, so you actually have to cash out to something that Coinbase accepts, if that's where you're going, if that's the route you're going to take, because they may not ever accept PLS, right? So you have to sell it, and then you have to get that other currency, and then take it to Coinbase, and then you have to worry whether or not you're going to get an AML, which is an anti-money laundering, because they'll be like, where'd all this money come from? You're 100,000 all of a sudden. Where's all this coming from? So you got all that, and then I don't even know how long it takes to get out that much money. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comment section can tell me the way to they're actually going to get out, because I don't know. Personally, I don't know the way to get out other than what I'm going to show you in the rest of this video. So once you've done that, then you're going to get your face taxed off, and it's you're going to get your face taxed off, literally tax your face off. This is where the fun starts. How much capital gains on crypto tax? So that little tiny baby tiny font down there, it says the IRS generally treats gains on cryptocurrency the same way it treats any kind of capital gain. So depending on your area or whatever, but it's basically 37%. 37% on $1 million. That's $370,000. Gone. Capital gains. Obviously, if you don't know what capital gains are, it's just simply you bought something cheap and then you sold it for more. So PLS, there's might be a little stipulation on this because you didn't buy it. You got it for free. Something to think about. Again, I'm not a tax consultant, but I already went over all this. This is just me talking to myself. Some states, if you're in the United States, they also have another tax, which some are 0% and some are 9%. So you pay some more taxes on top of that. So you could essentially be paying 37% to 46%. So if you withdraw $1 million, you might be taxed somewhere around $370,000 to $460,000. Yes! I mean, woohoo! Government is winning on this one, right? So that's cool for them. And if you don't end up withholding that money and being prepared to pay those taxes when tax season comes, well, that's just going to be something fun for you during that time. So almost half your stack is gone to the government. That sounds nice for them. So then you're left. Okay, so you're out. You got all your taxes set aside. You're still happy. You set aside $460,000 for taxes, and you're still happy. Cool. So congratulations. You have $540,000 to $630,000 to spend on things you loved so much you couldn't live without them, and you had to go into debt over them. So let's pay them off. So you do. And now you own your house, you own your boat, you own your kids' college, and you own the nice car, you own the golf cart, golf clubs, the higher interest credit cards, whatever. Right? Whew. And don't you feel better? Yes, you do. So now what? Simply put, now what you're going to do is you're going to say, I wish I had. And the wish I had start. Maybe it was the Lambo. And you're going to go out and you're going to say, how much money do I have left? I have $80,000 left. Okay, great. I'm going to go buy a Lambo. Well, that's not enough money to buy a Lambo. Sorry. Well, I don't have any debt, so why can't I just get a loan for the Lambo? Sure, why not? So you take out the $900. You take out the $900 a month loan for your Lamborghini, and the cycle starts all over again. Whew. Cool. So now what do? You go back to work. And you go back to work in crypto looking for your next place to make your millions. And you vow to not do it again because you feel like crap. You got your Lambo, you're in debt again, and you still can't pay your bills because you've never done anything. It never went anywhere. So you might have a better plan. Maybe you do. Do you have a better plan? If you do, in the comment section, please tell me your better plan. I'd like to hear it. You can find me on Twitter at @2 Pulse. Find me on Twitter. I'm trying to get another Telegram name set up, but it's just proving to be complicated because I don't want to use my other Telegram account for the Telegram standard chat. So I'm trying to work on that, but if you have a better plan, please tell me. I'd really want to know your plan on how to get out because, hey, this is what we're all here for, is to help each other out, which leads me to my next thing, which is strategies. And that's what I love about the Pulsechain community, the Hex community. You guys have these strategies that they just go on for days. You just have such cool ideas. whether it's using liquid loans or it's using, other tokens, like ICOSA on top of Hedron, and then you got Hedron that runs on top of Hex, and you got all these like just cool strategies. I love it. That's what I love about this community. And that's what I love about what I'm about to tell you guys is my strategy. So let's I don't have a name for this strategy. I just call it, I don't know. It's just a way out. It's just a way out without paying crazy taxes. I mean, you're going to pay taxes, just not those crazy ones. And you get to help out somebody and maybe your family and maybe a charity. So let's imagine a few cool things. A tax credit, so not taxed, but tax credit. It's fully legal. You get income forever. You can leverage it. And it benefits a charity. Probably already guessed it. If you're just even slightly smart, you already guessed what I'm about to say. So income forever might be the best and only part that interested you in this list. However, I think not paying 37 to 46% on taxes is pretty legit. Yeah, I think that should be a pretty huge part. So how is this possible? Using the tools the wealthy do to build a legacy. Yeah, the wealthy. I mean, I didn't say the rich. Rich is fine. You could be rich all day long, but wealthy is where it's at. I want to be wealthy, and I want to leave a legacy, and I want to be able to give my posterity a fighting chance at life. And to do that, you got to use the tools that the wealthy use. So this all starts with a charitable remainder trust. It's called a CRT. There are multiple different types of CRTs. This is why you can't even build this thing on your own. You can't go onto LegalZoom, and you shouldn't. And you should not try to figure out how to do your own CRT. I'm telling you, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. Find a really intelligent lawyer. It's going to cost you $3,000 to $10,000, somewhere around there. But hey, if it saves you $460,000 in taxes, do you think it's worth it? I think it is. All right, so this is what a charitable remainder trust looks like. I used this. This is not my picture. I just grabbed it off the internet, and then I threw it with like a little hex background. It's pretty ugly. So, donor. You'll see a couple things on this charitable remainder trust. You're going to see, I'm going to go through this. You see a donor, you see initial transfer, you see the basket of money, the CRT, and then you see payments during life, and it goes back to the donor, and then you have anything left at death goes to the charity. So it's just really like cool way to harness your gains without paying taxes on them, with getting a yearly, it could be yearly, it could be bi-yearly, it could be quarterly or even monthly. When you start changing off of yearly, it gets really complicated, especially with like taxes, because they have to go in and they have to check your balance of that trust. And that'd be really hard using the strategy I'm going to show you that I'm going to use. So it'd be really hard to do that. So yearly is the one that this is set up for, but you could use it for however you want. So hire a qualified lawyer to put this together. You have to. You can't do this on your own. You must. All right, here's some of the important key elements are donor, which is the person who donates it could be crypto, it could be PLS, it could be Cardano, could be, and this is the best part, is it could be any crypto you have that you've made some gains on and you don't want to pay capital gains and you want a way to still get income from it. So any crypto, could be any NFT, could be anything, you name it. We could stick this sucker into the CRT, and it's just I'm frothing at the mouth. I'm so excited about it. So you got the donor, that's the person donating. You've got the CRT itself, which is the whole entity. It's irrevocable, so it's like you pretty much, once you started this, you can never stop it. Like you can never take your funds back out. That's the terminology, irrevocable. There's revocable trusts where you can. So like a living trust is revocable, because when you die, then the funds are removed by the beneficiaries. That's called revocable. Irrevocable means it can't. You just can't do that. And what's good about that is the next thing, which it protects against lawsuits. So like someone can't sue you and take all those funds. They're stuck in the trust. So it's like lawsuit protection. Your assets are stuck and they're not going to go anywhere other than what the parameters are set by that lawyer. That's why it's important that you hire somebody to do this, because it's very technical. The annuitants I call them the annuitants, but I think that's the wrong terminology, because the type of CRT you're going to do is, or you'll talk with your lawyer about it, but the type of CRT I'm going to use is probably going to be a CRUT, which is a unit trust. And there's reasons why you'd use different types of CRTs. There's CRATs and CRUTs, and then there's NICRUT, and then there's a NIMCRUT, and there's probably 50 others. And this is why it's important that you talk to somebody who's really, really good with this stuff. Trustee or trustees. So that's the people that are in charge of the CRT. The people that are in charge of that basket of money in the middle. That basket of money right there is going to be in charge of, someone's going to be in charge of it. That's called the trustee. And there could be more than one trustee, and I think there should be. It's important that there should be, and I'll explain that in a minute. Charity, a real one, a proper one with records. It has to be a real charity. It can't just be some thing you created or you made up. So you have to create and they have charities that are involved with these CRTs, and they know how these things work, and so they'll actually might even say, hey, I'd like to be one of your trustees so that I can keep your funds rolling if you didn't have a good plan for all of the funds in there. But we'll talk about that. The donor can actually be the trustee. So you can donate, and then you can also be in charge of it. So that's where it gets really exciting. So many varieties, the NIMCRUT, I just went over that. Possible no tax due to sacrifice. So that's the last part. It's like, that's where you really need to talk to a very intelligent CPA that can say, okay, yeah, that's technically those funds were free, and you don't have any capital gains, but it's going into something that is gaining. I don't even know what that looks like, but it could look like you're not paying taxes, which, that's craziness. Using a qualified lawyer with a deep understanding of the CRT you will begin with the asset you plan to donate to the trust. Donation gives you a tax credit. So in that picture, you have PLS. Little donor guy has PLS, and he's like, I want to donate this PLS, 1 million, let's say, PLS, to the CRT. As soon as he does that, he gets a tax credit on the value that will be left at death. And I believe it's that way. So, and if I do this, if I say that right, kind of is dependent upon, no, I think I have that wrong. I believe it's the value that goes in you get a credit for, and it's up to, I think it's like 18%, but I don't know for sure on that. So let's just use 18%. So $180,000 credit that you get, and if you can't get it used up in the first year, you can spread it over 5 years of your taxes. So that's pretty cool. So you start there. Donor has his fund that he wants to fund this trust with, and then he sends it. This is important. The donor will send the funds to the trust, not sell them, send them. So the trust will have its own wallet, and that wallet will receive those funds, or the currency, the whatever it is. If it's PLS, or if it's Pulsechain, or Cardano, or NFT, or whatever it is, it'll receive that. Because inside of that, when it's set up with the lawyer will set up the wallet. And if that lawyer doesn't know how to do that, that's not the right lawyer for you. So the donor sends the asset to the trust as a donation to the name of the charity. So it actually goes to the charity, but it doesn't go to the charity right away. It's like a smart contract. This CRT is like a smart contract, and you're sending the funds to the contract, and the contract says, okay, upon execution of X, Y, and Z, we will then give these funds to said charity. It's just a smart contract. The name of the charity does not receive these assets until death of the annuitants, which is why the tax credit isn't the same as a normal charitable donation, which is also why you don't get the same amount of tax credit as a charitable donation, which is 100%. You only get a certain percentage because they figure you're going to take a good portion of that before the charity does. In the normal cases, that's true. But in this case, this charity is going to get a lot more than it's bargaining for. All right. So the next step is you see it looks like the first picture, except for there's no PLS, there's nothing there. Now the trustee sells the asset that's inside of that, inside of the trust, sells them into fiat currency, whatever, just normal currency that gives them a valuation. This is where all of the calculations start, because now the trust is sitting with the dollar value of the trust, and let's say it's $1 million. So now the trustee can then, at that point, take over the control of those assets, and they can do whatever the heck they want. They can buy bonds, they can buy stocks, they can buy real estate, the trust can buy whatever. It can buy more crypto. So if it could buy more crypto, what could it buy? And you'd want to buy something that has, this is where those trustees that are from charities, they want to invest in something that makes like 8 or 9%, because if the annuitants are taking 5%, they want to have more at the end of the cycle of this thing than the annuitants are taking out. So it's in their benefit, it's in their best interest to make sure that whatever is being invested in has a really good return yearly. So let me ask you, community, what makes a really good return? You're getting ahead of me. So the trustee will sell the asset and formulate a beginning value. The trustee will then take control of the assets and set up a proper investment strategy that will net a positive charitable contribution after the annuitant's death. If the trustee is able to invest in bonds that yield 12% per year, then the annuitants can receive a percentage determined by the IRS, which uses their age and gender to determine actual death date and how much of a percentage can be taken. This is where 2 or more trustees would be beneficial, one for investing and one for all of these calculations. This is where you keep the lawyer as being the one of the trustees, because you want that guy to just continuously do those calculations each year and being involved in it. This is where you might spend, $10,000 or $12,000 on this lawyer, as opposed to a $3,000 lawyer that, isn't going to be following up with this thing. This is going to cost. It's going to cost some money to build this, but let me show you how great this is going to be. All right, there it is. So then, what product do we all know will give the best returns? Well, a smart trustee will purchase something that makes very good yearly returns. Assuming a trustee understood the power of crypto based on their initial contribution, they would be wise to reinvest into HEX, which gives a great yearly return. Right. So now you're taking yearly, annuitants are taking yearly, and the trust now owns HEX. Getting excited. So what if, this is just a theory, what if, so HEX yields 38%, which we know, right? And I'm not including appreciation in any of these calculations going forward. So just stop thinking that I'm just saying we purchased it and we're just going with the yield of 38%, okay? So annuitants are going to take 12%, and the CRT is going to grow by 26%. Again, no appreciation, just coin value to coin value. 26% per year. I'm going to show you what this thing looks like in 10 years. It's incredible. Okay? So I'll recap before we get into the fun stuff. 26% growth per year. Annuitants are just the people that you decide that are going to receive the yearly. And it could be, this is the cool part about it, is it could be you as the donor. And then you could set it up to where if you die, then it could be your next of kin. But you got to just have that in there. It's like being written in. And once it's written, though, you can't go back and change it. It's got to be written right the first time. So it could be you, it could be your son or your daughter. It could be you, then your wife, or it could be you, your wife. And if your wife dies, then your son. And then if your son's the next oldest, and then if your daughter, it's just, you could be for a while. And if it's using HEX, we'll show you why it's really good. So in the first year, the annuitants or beneficiaries will receive $165,600 without consideration of appreciation. That means that the coin was purchased, let's say at 5 cents. It could have gone to 10 cents, but we're not calculating that. We're just calculating the raw cost of what you got and what it is now. So by year 10, with 26% growth and no appreciation, the annuitants will be receiving $951,297 per year. Whew. Right? Yeah. So, a little bit of math, all right? Again, I'm not calculating appreciation, so just ignore that fact. So this is the first investment. You put the money into it, you do all of that stuff we talked about. The first one goes in, the $1 million, and then it has to go through one cycle. So really, it should be the first year, and then these all should be second year, third year, but it's the first year of payment. So, right? So pre is your first year, really. And then your first year of payment is now, it's not 1 million because it's 38% more. So now it's 1.3 million times 12% is what the annuitants get. So, and I made it so that at the end of January, you know, it has to then sell the hex each time. It has to sell it all and then reevaluate the cost and the value inside of it. And then you have to repurchase all the hex again and restake again. It's just how it is, unless you get a lawyer that understands the concept of this recirculating. But I just don't know that he will. I think I think the parameters are based on actual values within the trust. And so that's where you have to sell it, rebuy it, and sell it and rebuy it, and keep reevaluating each time, which is fine. It's not a problem. And who knows, maybe you could it'll just be timed in a way that you sell it and then there's a little market correction and you can buy a bunch more. Who knows? And then more appreciation will take place. Or maybe not. Who cares? It doesn't matter. So about 165 the first year, the second year 200, third year 244, 296, then 360, then 437, then 531, eighth, ninth year. The 10th year is almost $1 million a year. I mean, it's just growing massively, right? So delayed gratification results in $1 million a year after 10 years. Even if you get taxed 50%, you still get more and a longer term than you would with the tax your face off method. Imagine what 20 years looks like. Also imagine if I calculated for appreciation. This is a charitable remainder trust, guys. This is pretty high tech stuff when it comes to this type of terminology. But let's just say after 20 years you die, and then your beneficiaries, they die as well. Imagine what the charity could do with $50 million. You're going to change your life. You're going to change your family's life. You're going to change a charity's life, and everybody's involved with that charity. This is cool. I mean, it's just a cool it's just a cool idea. If you got some value from this, please share it. Share it with some people. Share it in Telegram. Share it share it on Twitter. I don't care where you share it. Like, most people don't know about this kind of stuff. They have never taken the time to really research ways to get out of crypto. I don't know how else to get out other than figure out a way to donate. The best way to move funds around is by charities. And so I'm like, this delayed charity donations. This is the coolest thing ever. And if you liked what the Compassion Cartel was going to do with, PLS, 1 million PLS was going to be earmarked, and now that's not really going to happen because of the Texan token. Now you got 1 million PLS that's sitting around and you don't really know what you're going to do with it. You could always shove it into a trust like this, and it doesn't have to sell right away. It's irrevocable, so it could sit in there. It's like a savings account. Just sit in there and then sell it when you're ready to sell it. So it's a cool thought. Let me know what you think. I really am interested to hear what somebody has to say about this. Some of you really mathy people might be looking at this and going, oh, your math's all wrong. Well, maybe it is. Maybe I'm 50% wrong. And yeah, you're only going to get $500,000 after 10 years. Oh, darn. I'm wrong. Shucks. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for getting to the end of this. I know it was a long one. I tried to make it small because I wanted to get everything together. But I really appreciate everybody. Look forward to sending out some more stuff like this. Thanks.